Welcome back. You're watching Young Turks. We're in conversation with Sanjay Nath, co-founder and managing partner at Blume Ventures. Also with me from the Valley, Khare, partner at Lightspeed, and Rajesh Sawhney, the founder and CEO of GSF Accelerator, as we discuss the lessons to be taken away from the OpenAI saga with Sam Altman's exit and return. Now, Rajesh, what as an investor is your ask and expectation of the way that a board and a founder should communicate and lead to conflict resolution if one were to arise?
Yeah, so look, my opening comment would be that board managing the companies through board is still the best way possible for investors. This is an institution that has worked for centuries. Delegitimizing boards as such is not the solution to some of the problems that arise either because of technology-related conflicts or celebrity CEO-related conflicts. So that's that I want to put it on place, right? There is no other mechanism that has been invented or devised to manage companies, right? Now the issue is sometimes boards are beholden to the celebrities, CEOs, right? And let me explain. I was with a late stage investor who's in many unicorn, and he was complaining about early stage investors in the boards that he is on. He said some of these early stage investors, because they have only one or two successes in their portfolio, they either are, he used the word, either feel they're the fanboys of these celebrity CEOs, or they feel kritagya for returning that money. And therefore, they are sort of oblivious to or put a blind eye to many of the things they should be paying more attention to.
Yeah.
So I think this is a real issue, right? And this has happened in many, many cases, especially in Indian context, right? I would not name any company.
Yeah.
So the issue is this, that from at the earliest stage possible, you have to constitute a board that is in the best interest of the company. And cumulatively also in the best interest of companies, not just investors, companies is employees, companies is the society that we serve in.
Yeah.
So that kind of a board has to have representation in the right way, right? So that training and that cultural norms have to be set as early as possible, especially in the cases of some companies which have large impact on the societies. For example, if you take the case of OpenAI, not just like any other company, right? It's a company which is defining the future of humanity. Yeah. So in such a case, and especially it has other complexities that it's non-profit at the parent level. What kind of board is truly representative of what needs to be achieved through all joint ventures in future, through regulatory regimes that will come, and how does the company navigate through it, through talent loss and talent reduction.
Yeah.
It is clear to me in this case, this board was not appropriate for those challenges, right? So board has to be appropriate to the nature of challenges the company will feel. That is where the biggest failure is coming, right? Either board consists of handboys or consist of people who have, in this case, very fundamental beliefs which are different from the way certain technologies need to be commercialized.
But Dave, this is a complex corporate structure, so let's leave this aside. But, for most companies that are dealing with a for-profit corporate structure, as an investor, especially, in the experiences that you've had with your own portfolio companies, what would you put on the table so that we don't actually arrive at a situation like this where there is a public sort of battle or dirty linen being washed, and aired in public, etc.? What is it that you would like to see? What is the ask and expectation?
I think the couple of principles are at work in most companies as they grow. One is that they'll go through good times and bad times. I mean, every company goes through that. almost every successful company has gone through a near-death experience, as far as I can tell, in India and elsewhere. So that's going to happen. So you got to organize around that. The second is you got to organize around a board that is small enough and appointed correctly, like was said just now, and is very transparent. So there needs to be, and then there are certain basic building blocks that sometimes are missing right from the beginning. Number one is just clean reporting and transparency. I can't tell you how many times and how many companies, not just in India, but elsewhere, it's just not clear what is going on at a company. So I think number one is just clean transparency and that trust building between board and the board includes the CEO and the founders of a company. So they're also shareholders. They're also there to maximize value in most cases. OpenAI's case is different. Sam doesn't have equity in OpenAI, as far as I know. But then your interest should be aligned as shareholders. And then the founders need to be able to think, and the investors separate the shareholder hat from the duty to the employees and the customers and society, as Rajesh was just saying. So I think both those things need to happen. These basic building blocks need to be in place. And then as companies scale, you need to add more of these governance structures. What's good for a 0 rupee revenue company with 2 people is different from what's good for a $1 billion revenue company. And as far as I can tell, OpenAI is well north of that with its 750 employees. So very different types of governance as companies grow.
But in your experience, Sanjay, what is the biggest takeaway that from this episode? And what is the conversation that you would, for instance, have with your portfolio founders at the end of this?
Absolutely. Shereen, we call sounding boards for a reason, right? We live in a culture where we celebrate entrepreneurs and we celebrate, successful entrepreneurs. This, famous saying that, good news goes, up to the top floor and the bad news is buried in the basement. I think the reason the reason the word sounding board is there is, Dave and, just pulling in threads from Dave and Rajesh as well, is that you've got to pull in the good news as well as the bad news, share transparently, and also have that a very confident and very open, transparent relationship where you can share bad news, you can come with questions, right? Coming back to with the conundrum of breaking the law, I think you want your founders to break the rules in a legal way, not break the law. That should never be confused, right? It's of course you'll never innovate till you break the rules, but legally in a clean way. So the fact is that, these principles and frameworks have always been there. They just come to the fore now. But the fact is that look at your board as a sounding board, share bad news. And if stuff hits the fan, go to them in advance and not just communicate good news. So I think it's just a good, healthy and tough, hard relationship with very open and transparent communication.
With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Young Turks from all of us here on the program. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. Till then, goodbye.